I knew that I wanted to start something,
Right.
but didn't know how to start or didn't know what it was going to be, my own personal. Because I started helping my husband with the real estate, property management, and that got really busy. And I was still working. I had a job. I was still working.
A lot of people go through this when they have their own business. They have situations in which they cannot fix or they feel that they're just going to drown. It could be a change in industry.
Right.
It could be change in law.
Telling one of them, I said, why don't you start your own company within our company?
Right.
And why don't you find people that you can also have to help you so that you can work smarter and not harder, so you can take on more.
And he did tell me, my husband, I remember him so clearly. He told me, Judith, why are you investing your time and your talents for another company when you can do the same for our company? And I said, you're right.
There are many powerful women who demonstrate what it means to be a godly leader. Women who are wise, who are productive, who are problem solvers, women who get a job done. Today, I want to talk about women in leadership in the marketplace and how our relationship with God will affect our success in whatever career, whatever position we are involved in. So if you desire to be an effective leader, but you know that you're missing something and you want to become that leader that you have dreamed of, or you feel unfulfilled in what you're doing, I want you to stay with us. We are going to answer these questions and much more. Today, I have the privilege of having two business women with me who are very successful. They walk in leadership. It's Judith and Maria Angelica. And Judith, you have 3 businesses with your husband, and you work together with him, and you're very successful in them. And you studied to be a psychologist, right? And Judith, when she studied to be a psychologist, she didn't know that God was preparing her way to be a helper to her husband in business. And after getting married, she started to join him and to join forces with him and to help him because we are helpers.
Yes.
And we help our husbands. She started to help him with their businesses and they flourished. And Maria Angelica, it's funny, we were just talking that all 3 of us help our husbands in business. Maria Angelica she has her own interior design company, and she works together with her husband, and they run various thriving real estate companies. And before getting to where she is today, she had a process that she followed and that God brought her through.
Yes.
And so did we. So we want to talk today about leadership, women in the marketplace. So let's start.
Okay.
So since you started many years ago, a little while ago, how long has it been, Maria Angelica?
I would say it's been about 1.5 years.
Okay.
But total about maybe 2.5 years with everything.
Okay.
And it's such an interesting story because I knew that I wanted to start something,
Right.
but didn't know how to start or didn't know what it was going to be, my own personal. Because I started helping my husband with the real estate, property management, and that got really busy. And I was still working. I had a job. I was still working at an office, a dental office.
And as a matter of fact, I remember you telling me that was a training time for you.
Definitely.
How to you were managing that company. You're already a leader there.
Yes, I was in the management area of the dental office. So I ran everything. It's what I didn't do.
Right.
So from operations to the staffing to with the patients to financing to payroll to everything.
And have you used any of that in what you're doing now?
It was such a training ground to be able to multitask and do
a
million things at once. And it's so funny though, because I would keep my employer then on task and to help him to remember things like a helper.
Right.
So I was able to incorporate all of that now with my husband and the businesses.
Exactly. And in your case, Judith, and when you started to help your husband, were you like gung-ho, you wanted to do this, or were you a little bit reluctant? You know, working with our husbands is not always easy.
And you're right.
It's fun.
It is a fun experience. However, at the beginning, it was very hard for me. I went to school. I did so many things to try to just go through my career and try to do the things that I studied for. But plans changed.
Right.
I got married And he did tell me, my husband, I remember him so clearly. He told me, Judith, why are you investing your time and your talents for another company when you can do the same for our company? And I said, you're right. It took me some time because I had worked as an administrator in management for other companies before, and I had a very stable job. So I had a lot of things paid. So financially, it was didn't make
And
sense
here you were
to
going
me.
into kind of a little bit of an unknown because now both of you are going to be working in the same company.
Yes.
How about if, right?
Yes. So to me, that was nerve-wracking. I felt that it was crazy. It was definitely like a step of faith to do something like that. But we did it. I did it. I made the decision with all the fear that I had, because that's the truth.
You overcame fear.
Yes, I had to. In order for me to be able to do what I did, it took so much out of me. However, at the time that I did it, it was the time that it was needed. It was the right time.
Right.
Once I did make that decision, it was the best decision ever.
And you know what's good? What you're saying is don't be afraid of making a change. Because especially if you feel that God is leading you to do it and it's going to be beneficial for both you and your business together, in your case with your husband, a change is something that is always constant, right?
Yes.
And sometimes we feel we're going the right way, but God has something else for us. Now, I have a general question, whoever wants to grab this one. What do you think makes you a good leader?
Well, we know that having that relationship with God is super important. Because he gives you the guidance, the wisdom, things that you really can't even go to school for. You know, there's so many things that we've been able to do that we didn't go to school for or that we didn't prepare for. In addition to that, I want to say that we have learned that being a leader isn't even just having that idea that you're a leader. It's anyone can tell somebody what to do. I can give you instructions.
Right.
But I think one of the most important things in the leadership is to be able to influence, to inspire, and to motivate that person.
I like the word inspire.
To inspire them.
Others, right?
Inspire others to do maybe what you're doing or to capture the vision that is driving you and what you're doing for their life. So it's not even about whether it's making money, but also to bring a change for their life, just as it's bringing it to your life.
So leadership is not a selfish ambition.
It can't be.
No, it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It shouldn't
What
be.
makes you a good leader?
I feel that leadership, in my case, it involves so many things. I have been able to notice how leadership has helped other people. The way that your testimony, the way that you act, the things that you do, the things that you have, how it impacts another person. To me, that's a lot more better than anything in my life. I feel that being able to influence, to be able to have an influence in someone, to be able to help them too. Like Maria Angelica mentioned, to me, it's very important to add value to people. If you're able to add value to people with what you have, with what you know, with what you have experienced in your life, it's a lot better than just to just tell someone what to do.
Exactly.
But with your own example, you lead others by your own example.
Exactly.
Now, you said something key there about influence, because leadership is influence. Now, how about when you want to influence someone, but they are not seeing what you see? Was there a time when you were successful in influencing? Either way, what experience can you share with us that you were successful in influencing somebody and you saw them grow and you were like, wow, this was worth the time? And then another situation might be that you tried to influence someone and guide them and they just weren't having it.
They didn't receive it.
Right.
One of the companies that we have is a cleaning company.
Yes.
And our vision is not for us to just have a business, but our heart is for everyone to have a business, right? To be able to do it. So I was telling one of them, I said, why don't you start your own company within our company?
Right.
And why don't you find people that you can also have to help you so that you can work smarter and not harder, so you can take on more. And she grabbed it. And I told her, listen, you don't always have to know what to do You could it's just a step of faith. Everything is a step of faith. There's always going to be fear.
Right.
There's always going to be like, how is it going to work? How am I going to do this?
We want all the answers before we
Right
actually
away.
take an action. Was that the case in your life? Did you have all the
I
answers?
know I didn't have. It took a step of everything that we've done has taken a step of faith, believing that, okay, it's sometimes you're just going to take one step at a time.
Exactly.
You're not going to have everything in front of you.
And if you don't take that first step,
then you're never going to know what's
then
there.
you're never going to go to the second one.
Exactly. So it always starts with just that one step, which is just a decision.
And she grabbed it.
She grabbed it. So now I've seen how she has personally grown.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now she's making more. She has
That's
more
great.
because now she grabbed it. She's doing it. And she has come back to me and said, thank you so much, because she would have never done it.
But I want to touch on the opposite side of that.
Mm-hmm.
Have you experienced people that come into your companies and they want to learn what you know and then run with it without you, without being ready to go to their own? Like literally, I've seen people try to learn a trait or something that someone else is doing without having gratefulness, without having faithfulness. How would you tell our viewers, what do you do in those circumstances? I know you have to let them go, you have to release them,
Correct.
but they've even robbed from, I'm sure there's women watching. I remember speaking to one of them the other day that she was betrayed by someone that she employed. In your case, have you ever had that experience?
Oh, yes. Many times, actually.
So get used to it. Is that what you're saying? Get used to it?
I wish you don't have to get used to it too.
All right.
Because there are good people out there. I mean, there are loyal people still out there that will stick with you
Amen.
and with your
There is.
vision, you know?
That's
Because I think
good.
that's the best thing when someone that is employed by you knows the vision of your company. However, there's so many times that the employee doesn't know or doesn't understand exactly what the vision is, or they don't agree with your
Or
vision.
how to do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yet.
So yes. And then you try to actually give that vision to them. But if they don't want to be part of it, they just want to be part of what you know, your
Right.
knowledge or your experience,
success.
your success. Once they don't get that from you, or once they get it from you and they're ready to depart, then they just do. I would say definitely not to take it to heart, because it's really not
That's
something that
good.
you've done wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Many people, especially when you're starting, because this is one thing that happened to me at the beginning. I said, what did I do wrong? Why did they walk
Yeah.
away? We did so
Yes.
many great
Yeah.
things for them, you know?
It is a shock, isn't it?
It is. You're not expecting that because you invest so much of your time,
Right.
money, you know, so much. However, you have to be ready for that. You have to be ready for those
That's true.
times and know that it has nothing to do with you. And if it does, then you have to fix yourself.
Right.
You know, if there's something that you find that maybe the person is saying you did wrong, then you fix, you know, whatever situation, if it was time management, if it was not enough benefits, or if, whatever it is that it was wrong, try to change it in ways so that the next person coming in, you don't have the same situation.
You know what leadership to me is? A lot of relationships.
Definitely.
We have to have relationships with the people we work with. And another thing that leadership has is problem solving. How many problems do you fix a day? We don't have enough hands. We don't have enough fingers.
all day.
There are so many problems. I'm in ministry, but my husband is a businessman, and I help him. Can I say it so no one hears? At least he doesn't know, with everything.
We won't tell her to watch this one.
And so there are always situations and problems that come up that he doesn't even realize, and they're already taken care of. So give me an example. Give me an example. Are you laughing because you've experienced this? Give me an example
yes.
of problems, a specific problem that maybe came up in your business, and how you had the creative idea and all of a sudden you knew what to do.
I want to say this even goes back to when I actually was working in the secular in an office, and things would always come up there too. So I think that was a good training ground for me. Multitasking. And there are times where you have no clue what to do. I'm talking even stuff like electronic wise, like
That's true.
that you wouldn't know what to do. But then when you know that you're the only one there to solve, you can't pass on the baton to anybody. So it's really up to you to figure it out. So I had to start a mindset that there's always a solution.
That's good. That's
So
good.
there's
I like that.
always a solution. So you can't focus on
You
the
just
problem.
don't know it yet.
Right. There is a solution. Even if it's to do nothing, that's the solution for that. But
I'll put this aside till tomorrow.
but your mindset is that there's always a solution, because sometimes we focus so much on the problem that we get overwhelmed, right? Like I used to get overwhelmed. What am I going to do? And then there's a time crunch maybe.
Oh, yes.
And then you're like, I can't do this. But I've learned that there is a solution to this. How are we going to do it? And there are many times that honestly, it has been a supernatural thing, because
Maybe turtle steps, but you get there.
I get there and I have not known what to do, and I've solved it and I've done it. That I
Can
don't
you give me a specific example?
There were some issues that we were having, technological.
Okay, those are hard.
Technical, or that you really don't even know. Like
That's true.
you really don't even
there's
know.
always
So I'm going to go
Google. No,
extreme. There is Google, and then that's what I was going to say. You start with something natural. You could start to look it up.
Yes, YouTube.
You can start to look it up. We have so many resources, but the thing is to always try to do something.
Right.
Don't get paralyzed in that. And freeze.
Don't freeze.
Sometimes people just don't know how to confront because the problem or the situation. So we had a problem.
Be a personal problem.
It could be that too. So in that, I just felt to unplug, press this button. I was just playing around.
I like that. You know, when you have technical problems, unplug everything.
You just unplug it. I just started to play around. I took the initiative to just play around. And
you were directed, divinely directed.
Divinely directed to do this. And it worked. And I'm like, whoa, I don't even know. Don't ask me. And they were like, what did you do? I'm like, I have no clue.
But it's working.
But it's working. And so then from then on, everybody would just come to me like, can you fix this? Can you do this? What do we do?
It's a grace.
I think
as women and multitaskers, we have such a great grace to solve problems. Can you give me a problem that you may have faced?
It's so funny that you're talking about that, because just last night, my husband was talking about how we work together. And then he says, you know what I do? I have my brain, but I really don't have my brain. My brain is right here next to me, because whenever I have to think, my wife is there to think for me.
Oh, wow. Like, what a reliance. Wow. That's amazing.
Oh my God. When he shared that with a group of people that we were with last night, I'm like, I can't believe it. He really thinks like that, because every time there's a problem
on you.
In the office, is Judith. Try to fix it.
Well, you know what I like is you in the office. You mentioned that, and that's very key, because we don't want to give a wrong impression. I always tell my husbands, I want to stay in my lane. You stay in your lane, because I'm good at this. Stop nagging me. I know what I'm doing. Stop nitpicking at it. Yes. You did that to me not too long ago.
It's not easy to do that, huh?
But then they know. They have an area. If you're in business with your husband, this is for you, ladies. They have an area where they're experts, and that's where we have to butt out.
I love that. We stay in our lane. Yes, absolutely. You have to, and just with him too. Like, I know his strengths. Yes, but I know his weaknesses.
True.
So I kick
as a wife,
as a wife, and you kick into those weaknesses, and sometimes you're there, they don't even know you were there, and you come back out into your lane to help them. There you go. So definitely, but they do rely. I don't think they realize how much they rely on us, like they do.
Well, yes, her husband admitted it.
I think they do.
With you, but
they
sometimes
do. They just don't say it out in public. But
it's true.
The truth is that I believe that that we play a very important role.
Yes, we do.
Especially when it comes to things that are strategic and things that have to be taken care of at the time.
Right.
When it comes to solutions within the office, and I want to go back to that. And just because I feel that a lot of people go through this when they have their own business, they have situations in which they cannot fix, or they feel that they're just going to drown. It could be a change in industry.
Right.
It could be change in law. For example, in my business, whenever the law changes, in the industry, everything is like, okay, you need to reinvent yourself, and let's make a new law. And let's try to
because laws
work.
can change, and they can change the way that you function.
Correct.
So you have to be creative.
Being creative, trying to find a solution, try to find a way out, always works when you're focused.
There you go.
Always
be
works
focused.
when you're looking at a target. You cannot be distracted with the pain of the change, because change brings a lot of pain sometimes. you don't want to
get
do something
discouraged.
new, don't get discouraged.
Mhm.
Don't look to the left or right. Just focus.
Right.
And that's your goal. Your goal is to be able to do what you need to do.
Exactly.
And we've learned, right, over the years that leaders, right, we just get things done.
Yeah.
So
You
we
have
try to
it
get
done.
things done, one
Right.
way or the other, but we get it done.
And I don't want to close without asking this very last, very important question. You're both mothers, wives,
Yes.
business women. You're in ministry too.
Yes.
Yes.
How do you get it all done, and how are you productive in each one of these areas? Give us at least 2 little clues before we run out of time.
We ask ourselves that all the time. How do we do it all? And obviously the grace of God.
Mhm.
But one of the things that we do is to be intentional with everything.
Okay.
So you have to be a good steward of your time.
Yes.
Time is
Yes.
one of the things that you cannot take lightly as a business person.
This is very, it's a good commodity to have, obviously, but it's scarce.
Yes, it's so time is something that we sometimes feel like we don't have enough of.
Right.
So you
It's
have to
limited.
be intentional. So you have to make time, be intentional with it, with your children,
Mhm.
with your marriage, with the things of the ministry, with the things that you have. You have to prioritize what's important. So you know that
Priority.
God is first, your family second, the things of the ministry third, work is fourth. So based on that, you orchestrate your time slots in your week
There
for
you
what you
go.
need to do.
Yes.
But
And-
it's intentional.
Yes.
Yes.
And you, Judith?
Definitely do that. I definitely do that since the beginning. I feel that has actually made a change in our life. It has transformed many areas of our lives because if we don't take priority in what we have, for
Mhm.
example, our children and our marriage, things can get out of balance.
Yeah.
Right.
So try to balance your life, try to balance your time. I mean, you can always get money back, but you cannot get time back. You
Yeah.
see, so that's something that we value a lot. Our time is very valuable. Our time with our children, us together, having dates.
Yeah.
Yes, there
Even
you
though we
go.
work together, we still have dates every week
Exactly.
Yeah,
because
that's
you
great.
want to be able to have that balanced life.
Mhm.
Right. And what is the purpose of having a successful business if you don't have a successful family?
It's true.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So before we end, I would like each of you just to make a declaration over the women who are watching, a word of encouragement, a prayer, whatever you feel in your heart that they may need. We have talked about being in business with our husbands. We've talked about being encouraged and focused and not being fearful of change and things like that.
Mhm.
So whatever God puts in your heart, Maria Angelica, if you could start.
To every single woman that is watching right now, I just feel like those that are going to be watching are women that maybe want to start a business. Maybe you're working for somebody right now and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to start this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And even now you feel like you don't even have time to start anything. But I'm here to tell you that God will give you a vision. There's something inside of you. There's a passion. There's a desire to do something like I had, but I didn't know how to start. I didn't know how it was going to even look like, but you have to take that step of faith today. So I declare over you that whatever fear that you might be going through, whatever misconception, fear of the future, whatever it is that you're feeling right now, doubt, uncertainty, that you don't know how it's going to happen. You're not going to have it all together. But today, in the name of Jesus, I declare over you that doubt, that uncertainty, those fears that you have right now, in the name of Jesus, we declare that you will be set free. We declare that even in your dreams, God will show you the plan. He will give you the strategy. He will give you the resources because everything comes from Him. But I declare today that you will take that step of faith to believe. Come out of the boat, step on that water, and keep your eyes on Jesus. He will give you everything you need. So I speak to those businesses that are inside of you, that are ready to be birthed. Today is your day to make that decision, to take that step of faith because God has so much waiting for you.
Judith?
Awesome. Okay, I would have to definitely talk to those type of women that you probably are trying to expand your business. As Maria Angelica was praying and declaring, I felt that there's women in the marketplace that are trying to re-innovate themselves. They're trying to expand their business, that they're trying to grow, and they don't know how. They probably feel that they need more money or more knowledge or so many more things. But one thing that I can tell you, and that one thing is that God definitely wants to give you the way. He gives you the creative ideas. He gives you the specifics. He probably doesn't give you 1, 2, 3, but he does take you by the hand and tells you, just go ahead and step out in faith. Just go ahead and search, research, look for the things that maybe somebody else is not doing. What are the other people doing that you can do better? And what are the things that God can give you, and only you, because you're unique? So tonight, I want to just tell you that it's going to be a way of looking for your future when you put your eyes in God. When he gives you the guidance, he gives you the vision, he gives you new ways to do things that other people are not doing it. They're going to be unique. And I declare that as you do that in faith, you're going to be able to not only see it, but you're going to be able to touch it. You're going to be able to testify about that. You're going to be able to tell others, look, if God did it with me, he'll be able to do it with you as well. So you'll be an influence for other women as well.
Yes, and that is our goal. We want to always be a blessing and an influence for others. And I thank you for tuning in to Brilliant Woman series. We will be having a leadership brunch in the month of August. I'm so excited about what God's going to do. And I ask you to come back and be tuned in with us. God bless you.